take on the consequences of error and learn from it.
You know, and you also have to look with regards to the shadow ideas. Like, you have to get in touch with the depths of your anger. You know, lots of people are resentful about all sorts of things. They're resentful about, women, and they're resentful about men, and they're resentful about the patriarchy, and they're resentful about the left wing, and they're resentful about the right wing, and they're resentful about politicians, and they're resentful about like the cataclysmic force of nature and its ability to make people sick and suffer, and they're resentful about their own inadequacies and about their bad parenting, and like the list is just bloody endless, and that can make you very, very angry and cynical and bitter and dark and full of fantasies about destruction and the desire to bring things down and the wish that everyone else suffered and the desire to shake your fist at God, and all of that's really dark. You know, Jung said, well, the shadow extends all the way down to hell. And he really meant that, because all the terrible things that people are motivated to do are associated with that shadow domain. And like, none of you are saints in any likelihood. You have a terrible capacity for destructiveness. And when you start to consult your resentment and to see how angry you are, it can terrify you to see the depths of that anger. Sometimes that'll manifest itself in very destructive fantasies, which you might not want to become conscious of because they're so brutal, let's say, and so aggressive that you can't even believe that you generate them, the nice person that's you. It's like, so it's quite frightening to open that door and see all that, and that also associates you with the entire dark shadow of mankind, right? The satanic element of the human character. But it opens the door to understanding as well, to understanding how people can do terrible things, because you could see yourself as one of the people who could do terrible things. That's really useful, Well, then maybe you start to be motivated to.
When you're striving to become successful, one of the hardest things that you're going to do is try to figure a way to control your emotions. It's bound to happen that you're going to be pissed off and mad at the world because something's not going to go the way you expect it to, and something's not going to go the way that you need it to go. But when that happens, it's all about keeping your emotions in check and figuring out the best way to navigate your emotional mindset and figure out the way that you need to use your emotions to the best of your advantage. And if that's getting pissed off in order to do stuff faster and stronger and more smarter, then you need to make sure you go out there and do that.
One of the most common reasons that people come and seek psychotherapy really is because they're too agreeable. But what that means is they're not assertive enough. They haven't integrated their capacity for aggression, and so other people can push them around, and they're very conflict avoidant. And so the consequences of that across time is that you don't stand up for yourself well enough and you get taken advantage of, and that spirals badly downward. And so partly what you do when you're doing assertiveness training with people is you find out what they're angry about, and they're usually angry if they're not assertive enough because other people are taking advantage of them, or you could say because they're not putting their own necessities forward with enough force. But anyways, you get them to talk about what they're angry about. That often makes them cry, often many times, and then you get them to kind of envision what they would want to have instead, which they're often afraid to do because people are afraid to think about what they want, because that makes it more clear when they're not getting it, and that's painful, right? Or maybe they're afraid of hoping, so they won't specify a clear aim. But anyways, you get them to think about what they might want instead, you get them to think about the costs of not pursuing that, and then you help them develop strategies for integrating their aggression and with their thinking so that they can come up with a plan to approach the world in a more confident way. Many of them will not allow themselves to experience anger or aggression or to express it because they had tyrannical fathers. And so one of the things they decided when they were like 4 was, I'm never going to be like that. And you don't fix it by refusing to manifest it. All that does is cripple you because you're missing half of your emotional dynamism and a whole chunk of your power. You don't have that many sources of power. You've got enthusiasm, that's a good one. Curiosity, interest, appreciation for beauty. Anger is unbelievably useful. Tremendous reservoir of power, and you don't want to suppress that. You want to harness it so it's at hand so that people don't mess with you, because they will. People will push, especially pushing people. They're going to walk all over you. They won't even notice because you'll just move. They won't even notice that they pushed you over. So you'll go home, you'll be all resentful and irritated and brood on it for a month, and it's like, so that the men I've seen often will refuse themselves access to anger in particular.
So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section below.